Hey everybody, welcome back to United versus everybody. I am your host Sean. Sorry, I'm just typing up a little bit of notes real quick. Didn't realize that I pressed that button real quick. We are back for this afternoon's Man United News Roundup. We got a little bit of news to discuss this afternoon as United's name has been linked to a few things, not only just transfers, but just in general talk on a couple different channels, a couple different outlets. So I did want to get your thoughts on some of that. Like I said, a few transfer rumors to go over. Kind of a new position that we've been linked with today as well that I want to get your thoughts on. So we're going to dive into all that. Don't forget to get in your votes for my FC25 career mode. I am itching to start. But after letting you guys kind of vote for the priority positions, which were center midfielder and striker, in my first transfer window, because I did a live start point for mid-February, go pick between the four central midfielders and the four strikers. Now, the central midfielder names are bigger because you guys prioritize that, so that means that's a bigger signing. And then the strikers are up there as well. So go check those out. I'll probably grab a center back if I can as well, a number 10, and probably Giovanni Quenda just to make it kind of realistic. But I might go ahead and do kind of two young number 10s because I might go ahead and sell Garnacho as well. But you guys don't forget to get voting on that. Also, if you weren't able to catch this morning's match reaction live, go check that out as well. Leave your comments on that. Tell me who you thought was man of the match, what you thought about the match overall. Did you think Dogu's red card was deserved? Would you sell Onana yesterday? If you go to Onana, should have been handed his P45 walking down the tunnel yesterday. But that's another story for another time. You guys go ahead and check out that video. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. You are on the road to 3K. Check the memberships to learn how you can get more involved in the content, because you guys know I want to come up with even more ways to get you guys involved, get your opinions out there. So if you want to get involved in scouting reports, topics that we discuss, or even jump on virtually to take part in the match reactions and previews, all that stuff, go check out those perks. They are more than just emojis and badges. Let's get stuck in with some news, though, shall we? So starting with a little bit of a random topic. So recently there was talk of United looking at replacements for Ruben Amorim. There was all these rumors, his job's under fire. The name we were linked with this week was former Barcelona manager Xavi, who's a free agent now. Obviously, Hansi Flick took over. Simon Stone with the BBC has attempted to pour cold water on those rumors, though. He's claimed today that United's decision makers are adamant that their faith in Ruben Amorim remains high, that they're still holding strong with the guy that they brought in. Lionheart's big up, man. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. So Simon Stone saying that the higher-ups at United are sticking by Ruben Amorim. They feel what is currently being endured are teething problems with a head coach trying to implement a new way of playing. Now, this is the big thing that a lot of people seem to be forgetting, whether it's pundits, former players, even fans. They're focusing so much on the formation. And Amorim himself has even said it. Like, it's not about formation, where you are on the pitch, the 3-4-2-1, 3-4-3. It's about the way we're playing, what you do, mentality, reactions, decision-making, effort, all that in different situations. Amorim is trying, and the words here right now are perfect, what Simon Stone has said, trying to implement a new way of playing, a new way of perceiving, reading, processing all this. It's not just about you stand here 10 yards further up because you are now a 10 and not, this player. That's not just what Amorim's doing. Amorim believes that his system is the best way of marrying that new way of playing and positions on the pitch. But is it just teething problems for you guys? Do you guys think that there's more to it than that? I mean, we discussed this last week in that video where we kind of explored this question, is Amorim in over his head? Sanjay, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you live. We got a twofer, man. We had you 2 days in a row on live. I appreciate that. But is it teething problems? Is it just early jitters? I mean, you see new manager bounce. We didn't really get that with Amorim, so it's interesting. I wanted your guys' thoughts, though. Do you think that this is just kind of an early storm? We got to ride it out. Do you think that the higher ups are fine with it? That he still has their support? Is there anything more to it? You guys let me know. Good to see you guys. I don't know if you watch The Overlap at all. I know it's a popular show. I watch it whenever it comes on. I find it very entertaining. It's always fun to watch, you know, Gary Neville stop every couple seconds to talk about Huel or Jamie Carragher, just, waffle on and this and that. I think Roy Keane is usually the funny one to watch. Obviously, Jill, Ian Wright as well. And then they usually have guests as well. It is a good little show if you guys ever get a chance. This morning's episode, however, was pretty interesting. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch it yet. So Ian Wright and Roy Keane kind of got into a little bit of a debate, pretty heated. I mean, it's all good. Everything's heated with Roy Keane. I mean, the guy could get heated buttering his toast in the morning. But it was focused on Bruno and the disrespect that Ian Wright thinks he gets versus the the intolerance that Roy Keane has for him. So Wrighty defended Bruno correctly, in my opinion. I think Bruno gets a lot more hate than really he deserves. If you look at his numbers, if you look at what he does and stuff, I mean, the guy is always fit. He's got good mentality. I mean, I think he lacks composure sometimes in moments, but if you're just going to focus on one aspect of a player and use that to just define them as a player, I think that's a bit of an oversimplification. And to me, that just belies an agenda. But Wright defended Bruno, saying he even argued that we'd be relegated if it weren't for him right now. Kino, meanwhile, staunchly argued that, we're in 15th and Bruno is the captain. And he says that talent is not enough. So again, it was a cool little debate to watch. I mean, I don't know what else Bruno is really supposed to do. The guy's the top chance creator in the Premier League since he joined. If we had some better finishers at the club over the years, he probably would have doubled the assists and he'd be up there for, we'd probably be closer to some trophies and stuff too. But I don't know what you guys think. Do you guys think that Bruno is disrespected? Do you guys think that he's overhyped? You guys let me know what are your thoughts on that. And let me know if you watched that episode because it was pretty interesting. I'm going to take some water. This weather's got my throat super, super itchy. Sanjay says, I have lived in the UK, Birmingham, Stoke-on-Trent, and St. Neots. Nice. And Lionheart's Malta. Yeah. Sanjay, you're in Malta, huh? That's right. You went from Lisbon, I believe. Is that what you said the other day? Lionheart's in the UK, so you are staying up late. Lionheart says, wow, Kino got so angry. It almost pains me to say, but the show is so much better when Carragher is on. Carragher annoys me. And the reason he annoys me is you saw it today if you watched the episode. And it's not like a Carragher thing. It's a way that certain people choose to have debates, sort of thing. I find it really frustrating and really difficult to try to have debates with people when their go-to is to interrupt or to talk louder than you. I like Piers Morgan does it, Tucker Carlson does it. It's very annoying. It will make me not want to have a conversation with someone more often than not because you're not arguing in good faith. You're just wanting to speak instead of willing to listen at that point, and it's really frustrating. So. But Carragher, you could see today, Gary Neville was getting super frustrated with him because he just kept talking over and interrupting him. Maybe even other people were like, "Let him finish, bro." It's annoying, but I do like the dynamic that Carragher and Neville have when they're together because I do think that it's really good. I think it makes the conversation really good. I think they're both obviously they both get heated, but I think there is that mutual respect there. Obviously they clashed several times in their careers, but it was a good little episode. But Leonard said he's the only one who can wind up Nev. It doesn't take much to wind up Gary Neville. Usually, I mean, everything's just Glazers. But yeah, Neville was going on one a little bit today as well, talking about the club and the debt. And I think I had a lot of respect for Gary in that because nobody talks about all that. They only talk about the negative stuff right now, and it's only Ineos. Nobody talks about the debt, and when they do, it's shifted right back to what Ineos have been doing all season. And it's just the reason that we have to do these things is because of the Glazers, and it's really important that people don't forget about that. And in fair play to Gary Neville for making it, for constantly bringing it up. Obviously, he's been banging that drum for years, but people need to be reminded that this is the Glazers. That is the reason why we're in. If people want a finger to point when it comes to staff being laid off, point it at the Glazers. Don't point it at Ineos. Ineos are made to seem out like these horrible. And I don't agree with everything Ineos have done. I don't agree with a lot of the way Sir Jim goes about being a businessman. I don't agree with some of the stuff. we went back and forth yesterday, you guys and I, about like the free lunch thing. Like I can see all sides of this. On one hand, I am flabbergasted that people even get free lunch at their job, because that's just unheard of for me. I've never heard of anybody getting free food at their job. But on the other hand, I didn't taking something away is always going to make you look like the bad guy, and I don't think that the money saved on that is really worth the bad PR that it's going to bring, honestly. If you have to do layoffs, I get it. I don't like it, but I think that in itself will save you enough money. And if you're laying off 400 or 500 people, you're saving also that money in lunch. That's 400 or 500 people worth of food you don't have to supply anymore. So it is what it is. Lionheart says Rooney is a bit of a drip on there. Rooney is Rooney. He's kind of like, he kind of reminds me of Scholes. More often than not, he did his talking on the pitch, and sometimes he just comes across a little awkward sometimes on camera. And it's not a bad thing. I think it's just Rooney's just got a very different type of personality. And maybe he's not super comfortable on camera. I don't know, but I've watched a couple of them. His wife was on a couple of weeks ago, I believe, if I remember correctly. I don't off the top of my head though. Danny B, welcome back, my friend. Good to see you. We are just going through some news here, talking a little bit about Roy Keane and Ian Wright having a little debate about Bruno today. Danny, do you think Bruno is disrespected? Do you think that he's just not good enough? You let me know, man. Lionheart says, made it. One of the hotels I worked as a chef, I needed to pay for staff meals. Yeah, and again, I hear all sides. I like here in America, like I told you, my mom worked for one of the biggest automotive companies in the country. And I mean, like an administrative thing. It wasn't like she was on the assembly line or something, but even if she go to the cafeteria at her office, she still had to pay for food or bring her own. Like, it's unheard of to get your meal. And I told you guys, even Google and Meta are cutting down on that shit. And we'll talk more about that in another video when that drops. But it's unheard of to me. But at the same time, does the 1 million that you save, is that worth the negative PR? Like I said, I don't think so. But again, fair play to Gary Neville for pointing out that the debt and making sure that people don't forget about that. So, but you guys let me know. We're going to move on to some transfer news now, because we've been linked with a new name. Not a new name for me, and you guys are probably not going to believe me when I tell you about the backstory behind that, but it is not a new name for me. So it may seem a bit coincidental to be linked with a goalkeeper after Andre Onana's latest howler, but it is what it is. But Caught Offside, citing a Spanish outlet known as Sport, Caught Offside reports that United are set to rival a few clubs, Barcelona and Arsenal, namely, for Espanyol goalkeeper Joan Garcia. Good goalkeeper. I swear on my grandmother, this guy has been on my transfer list for FC25 for months now. I have him on my little notes in my phone, because he's one that I keep an eye on. I have a list of players for every position for FC25 when I start doing career mode. I have a list for every position when I do scouting reports. Joan Garcia is on that list. Spanish, very good keeper. He comes off his line. He's good at claiming crosses. He commands his area. He does a lot of defensive work coming outside the box, a little bit of that sweeper mentality, which I don't have a problem with as well. But he's also a good shot stopper. He averages just over 3.5 saves per 90, which is top 12% for goalkeepers. And it's the best in La Liga right now for saves per 90. He's second in La Liga for goals prevented as well. Again, Spanish, if Barcelona are interested, it's going to be difficult to get him out of Spain, especially if they're doing that. But is the new name we've been linked with, whether that's just coincidental because of Onana's high-profile errors. You guys let me know what you think about that. Are there any keepers that you'd like us to look at United? Any keepers you would replace Onana with? I mean, no offense, but fucking hell, put Fallon in net ahead of Onana at this rate. She's one of the best female keepers I've seen, and she's looking better than Onana. She commands her area a lot better. But I've got a few on my list. Garcia's on there. Chevalier is another one I like. Aguirre-Sabala at Athletic Bilbao I really like. Elia Caprio. Marcin Bulka is at Nice is very good. Lionheart says, yeah, Bruno is so disrespected. His numbers speak for themselves. Yeah. I think, I don't know, the way he's always fit. He always gives 100%. His numbers, like you say, his numbers speak for themselves. Again, he lacks a bit of composure at times. He lacks a bit of positional discipline at times. But again, I've never heard a manager complain about him at all. Every time a manager speaks about Bruno, it's nothing but praise. So it is what it is. But let me know what you guys think about this keeper. I rattled off some numbers. I swear I have been watching this guy for over a year now. Very good keeper. Um, but let me know what you think. If there's any other keepers you'd like, I know we were linked with Diogo Costa for a while, Porto's keeper. He didn't convince me a whole lot in the Champions League last year. He was struggling a bit in the Champions League. We were linked with him that same summer we bought Onana, though, so I don't know if that he was reportedly super expensive. But moving on. Anyone who might, like myself, who was gutted that we didn't make a move for Sverre Nypan in January could stand to be a little bit rewarded for their patience. So obviously we don't know what's going on. He toured with a couple of clubs, hung out at City, Arsenal, whatever. But now United Muppeteers claims that he's still one to watch for United, as we are still interested in a summer move is possible. Don't give me hope, guys. He would be excellent for us. I know you guys. We've talked about Nippon a lot on this channel. He's probably been featured in 2 or 3 videos already, scout reports and whatnot. Lionheart says, I don't understand why they can't just give the keepers they develop a chance. Why spend so much time and money in developing young keepers? Yeah, we've let a lot of our academy keepers come and go over the years. Joel Pereira is gone, obviously. John Stone left. Henderson has gone. Kovar. Vitek looks like he might be angling to move in the summer. He's 21. He's on loan right now in the Austrian league. He's doing very well. I like Vitek. Like I said in this morning's match reaction, I've said it a couple times on the channel. If anybody comes in for a decent offer for Onana, and I mean like 20, 25 million, bite their hand off, stick with Bayindir and Vitek next year, or just stick with Vitek. I don't really care. And then reassess a year later, because there's no way it could be worse than Onana. It's embarrassing. Kuna Matata, welcome back, my friend. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We're just chatting about the news here. But let me know if you're still excited about Nippon, if you're still holding out hope, if you're still seeing some sort of light at the end of the tunnel of despair that occurred when he went back to Rosenborg in January. Hakuna Matata says, Onana is shit. Please get rid of that bad. We don't need any name calling unless we're talking about Liverpool fans or Jurgen Klopp. But yeah, Onana is shit, though. We can say that. Goals for George. Welcome back. Good to see you. I think United need an experienced keeper of the stature of Martinez at Villa, a keeper who does not need to come in to adapt or learn about the physicality of the league. I mean, there's a lot of older keepers out there as well. Unai Simon is doing very well. I like Unai Simon a lot. Kobek, I like Kobek a lot as well. There's a lot of options out there. There really are. With a little bit of just scouting and whatnot, it is fine. Like, it just depends on what you look for in a keeper. You guys know what I look for. I need you to be able to make some saves, and I need you to command your area just a little bit. Come off your line, claim some crosses, punch these. I don't care what you do. Like, if balls are going in the box, I need you to come out and grab them. You're all good, man. Don't worry. We all get emotional. It's United. It is what it is. Lionheart says Onana was supposed to be that keeper. So Onana was the 2 reasons. Ten Hag was familiar with Onana. He played at Ajax before he got banned for a year for doping. I don't know if he was like everyone's going to claim not guilty, but that's why he was banned. Some sort of substance, some sort of PED, I think. And Onana is supposedly, and you can't argue, he is comfortable on the ball. Despite what people tell you, Onana wasn't played for his long ball because we didn't play that way under Ten Hag, where we weren't really supposed to. We don't play that way under Ruben Amorim. He was bought because when it comes to building out for the back, that's what he's for. He's basically another defender out there with the ball at his feet. Problem is that when your mentality is so weak and you start to get a little nervous, you start to make a few mistakes, it affects all of your game. It doesn't just affect like shot stopping. It affects everything. You start to have no confidence and you start to get shaky in every aspect. You saw some of the passes he was trying to play to, like, even just the side passes to Euro, the 15-yarders were just not good. And so when his confidence goes, those kind of things go too. And so Onana was a tremendous keeper in the Champions League when Inter got to that final against City. Those early jitters at United, he hasn't really seemed to be able to shake. Overall, like, he doesn't, it's not like I think he walks around like a chihuahua just constantly shaking or something, but the moment he makes a mistake in a match, it's clear that he can't shake it. I'm not trying to like claim that I have some sort of monopoly on that sort of body language reading because I'm a mental health professional or anything. I'm not. I'm just literally reacting to what I see. When I look at his facial expression, when I look at the way he's lying on the ground after he makes an error that concedes a goal, like those are the things I look at. And he's been doing that for a while now. So it's super, super annoying. Liner says he was the best in the CL in that last year. He was legitimately, he was the best keeper in the Champions League that year. Like, just facts. It just was. The Inter play a different style. We play a different style. He's played now under two managers at United. So if it were up to me, again, Saudi club wants him, have him. Let's stick with Bindier or VTech for a year, and then we can reassess. Because while I think Onana is probably could easily hurt us more than he helps us, I don't know if keeper would be a priority for me right now. I really don't. But you guys let me know what you think. Composed View says his distribution isn't even that good, especially under Ten Hag. So he's still not good for why he's bought. His distribution, no. His composure on the ball, though, when he's just bringing the ball out and kind of creating space for himself. I mean, we saw Onana Cruyff turn in the box at one game. I vividly remember that, and create space for himself. That is why he's bought. Not for Cruyff turns, but for that ability to kind of carry the ball out and kind of help build that first phase of attack. Help be an option who's good at their feet as we're trying to build out the center backs or the midfielder is under pressure and they need someone to pass. Can you imagine David De Gea like having to receive those kind of almost hospital passes at time when our defenders are being pressed? Like, and I'm not trying to diss De Gea. I'm just saying there's differences here. So yeah, his distribution is shit though. No, I'm not gonna lie. I've seen him put maybe 2 good balls on a plate for Dallo at times, and other than that, I can't. Like, his distribution is shit. Goals for George. Onana had the confidence and swagger to play at a giant club, but nobody expected this volume of mistakes after getting rid of De Gea. I mean, De Gea kind of. I get why we lost. I mean, people are. There's a bit of revisionism with De Gea personally, and I have no problem. I love De Gea. He's serving at this club. At his peak, he was literally the best shot stopper in the world at his peak. What was that, like 15, 16, 17, that era? Literally the best. I mean, he ended his United tenure with a Golden Glove. I thought that was he's great. He just, for what Ten Hag wanted from his keeper, De Gea did not tick those boxes, and we can't argue that his shot stopping declined in the last few years. Like, again, that's what I mean by revisionism. So, but the year after he cost us, he did make some errors, and he continues to make those errors. He's made a couple of high-profile ones in the last month. I was at the Brighton game where we fucked that one up. Obviously, Forrest sticks out to me as well. Last night, I don't know what he was doing last night, going on a walkabout, but it is what it is. Goal says, what is the mysterious illness affecting Bindier and Heaton? I mean, it is that time of year. We know Eriksson and Yoro were also sick, so if it was anything like a flu or a cold or something, it's very, very plausible that multiple players in that dressing room got sick. So we will see. Composed View is doing math. You're doing math, dude. I know math isn't my thing. Composure, 40%. Confidence, 40%. Ability, 20%. Yeah, I think that when your mental game affects your physical game. That's just the way it is. And you start, you got to calm down mentally. You got to compose yourself mentally. And then the physical stuff, put together a few simple things and the physical stuff will follow suit. But you got to win the mental game first. That's where the game is won or lost. Up in the gray, as Colin Farrell says in The Gentleman. I don't know why I have this weird obsession with that Gentleman movie. I don't know. Maybe it's a Guy Ritchie thing. I love that movie so much. But I do like Guy Ritchie. Snatch is one of my favorites. Lock, Stock is one of my favorites. I haven't watched the Gentleman TV show. I don't have Netflix, but Liner says, it's so frustrating. Obviously, there's a keeper in him, but again, needs to be another case of player not being able to settle United. And maybe that's it. Maybe just the lights of Old Trafford are too much for him. I don't know, but it's just it's not great. Like I said, stick Fallon in net. She's way better. And I'm not saying like, stick a girl on night. Fallon is a good keeper. There are several players I would start Jade Riviere over Diogo Dallo any day of the week. Jade Riviere is a baller. Rad Rich, good morning or good afternoon, my friend. Good to see you. He says, I replaced Onana with a bag of sand. I think Danny pointed out this morning, he was like, stick a scarecrow between the sticks. Get it done, man. Line starts to harsh much. Darko, big up, Darko. Good to see you, my friend. As always, welcome back. Lionheart says Hugh Grant is amazing in The Gentleman. Yeah, Hugh Grant is really like, so I was young when Hugh Grant was like popular, like in the mid 90s, right? When he like burst onto the scene and he was like this like sex symbol for women. I don't understand it, but he is really good in that movie. I have a weird Charlie Hunnam obsession too. Sons of Anarchy is one of my favorite shows. So anything Charlie Hunnam is in, I have time for, whether it's although King Arthur, I could do without King Arthur. I didn't even finish King Arthur, but yeah, I got time for Charlie Hunnam. Maybe it's a bit of a man crush. I don't know, but I always watch Charlie Hunnam when I see him in something. Darko says total 19 individual errors off Unana. Darko's doing the math too. I know that statistically, if you look at FootMob, Dorgu was attributed to the error that led to that opening goal, but he had a part in it, but I put that down to Onana more than anything. Darko says, and after every mistake, he either sips water, adjusts his socks, or he lays on the ground for about 20 seconds. But it's super annoying, and yeah, like Rich says, it's way too many errors. It's really not like I had patience. I'm done. I've been done with Onana for like a month now. I'm done with this goo. But moving on, we discussed United's rumored interest in Ademola Lookman the other day. You guys remember we talked about that. You guys were not having any of Ademola Lookman, so fair play. You guys know this is your channel, your opinion. Do what you got to do. Lotudo Mercado have reiterated that United are, in fact, allegedly in for Lookman. Atalanta were supposedly asking for $50 million. But Tudo Mercado believes that they could take less than that. Not bad for a 27-year-old African Player of the Year, hat-trick in the Europa League final. He plays in a position that we really need. We need goal scorers, and the guy's a goal scorer. Obviously, famously last week, Champions League got a little bit of a back and forth with his manager on missing that pen. You guys say whatever you want about that. Do you think Gasperini's right to call it out? Do you think Lookman's right to fire back? I mean, you guys know I'm not here for the drama. I'm not all about that life. Solve that shit behind closed doors. Missing a pen to me, that's not the word. Everybody misses a pen now and then. So John Terry. But Fabrizio Romano adds that clubs like Juventus, Liverpool, and Arsenal are also interested in Lookman as well. So maybe he could return to the Premier League. I know a lot of people are still a little gun shy after he didn't really pull up any trees in the Premier League, but it is what it is. Lionheart says, I couldn't stand him up until The Gentleman. His new movie, Heretic, is great. Oh, the Hugh Grant. Yeah, Hugh Grant's doing a lot of good things. I didn't watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie, but yeah, The Gentleman, I got time for The Gentleman, man. There was my last year when I went to Manchester, it was one of the movies on the flight. I literally watched it on the way there and watched it on the way back. That's how much time I got. And I binged Poker Face, if you guys have ever seen that show. It's a pretty cool show. Patrick United. Hey, Sean. Hey, guys. Good to see you again, Patrick. How are you doing, my friend? Big time. What the F? You guys, this is my first super chat of the channel's history. Patrick, absolute legend. Pair character doing a shaka sign with his hand saying cool. I don't know what that means. I think it's describing an emoji. Let me see what this looks like on my screen. Oh, you are. What is this little guy? Dancing, saying cool. Patrick, big up, Patrick. You know what? For that, you guys, I might have to gift some memberships here. Hold on a second. Let me just I might have to gift some memberships here to everybody to celebrate this. We're gonna gift 5 members on the live right now on the channel because Patrick is an absolute boss, man. Good to see you again, Patrick. We're gonna throw out some memberships. So Jay, Neil Driscoll, Sanjay, Dean Boy 99, and Jules and Bexy, you guys were all gifted a membership. Now, it looks like a couple of you don't have those activated. Sanjay, you don't have those. Oh, never mind. You just put a comment down. Sorry, Sanjay. Big up, Patrick, for getting involved. That was the first super chat on the channel, you guys. Look at that. You guys rock. Patrick, absolute legend. Good to see you again, man. Way to jump in style, dude. Big up, man. And like Danny says, absolute legend. Big up, Patrick, man. You guys rock. I love this community. This has been such a blast. I know I sound like so cheesy when I keep saying this, but doing this channel, man, honestly, the most exciting part of this is just interacting with you guys. And you guys, I love the support. I love seeing the channel grow. I love getting these conversations going. You guys rock. But big up, Patrick. Sandra says, I like the Penguin. I haven't watched the Penguin. I haven't. Um, I'm like, I think Batman's kind of been ruined for me in recent years. I never really was a big like Batman kind of person personally, but maybe it's just when I grew up, it was X-Men. I used to watch that TV show all the time. Big up, Patrick. And the Mayor of Kingstown. Is that another Taylor Sheridan? I got time for some of Taylor Sheridan's thing. I think some of it starts to kind of blur together, though. The more if you watch all the Taylor Sheridan shows, they all kind of start to feel the same. So I'm like, I need to see something a little different. But I haven't watched Mayor of Kingstown. Maybe that's a different one. Lionheart says, if Lookman can get us the goals, feck it, bring him in. Yeah, at this point, I know we talk about goal scorers and we talk about needing goals, but and I think a lot of that focuses on strikers, but I think that we need goal scorers. So whether that's someone like Acuna or a Lookman who plays in behind the striker who can get in the goals, we just need some goals. Whether that's down to better decision making, better movement, better ball progression, whatever, chance creation, we need some more of that. I do think that Højlund he's struggling. Like I said this morning, he is regressing in a lot of areas. Even the things that he was good at, he's not super great at anymore. I think he's starting to get in his own head a little bit, Højlund, but we need goal scorers. I don't care if that's a center back. I don't care if that's a striker. I don't care if that's just a left back. I don't care. We need goal scorers. Jay, big up, Jay. Good to see you, my friend. How are you doing? Good to see you, Jay. Yeah, we gifted 5 memberships on the channel just live thanks to a super chat from Patrick United. So everybody thank Patrick for being an absolute boss. But yeah, would you take Lookman? Are you guys having Lookman? And we did a poll the other day. A lot of you weren't having it. Should I do another poll on Lookman since the new news is coming up? You guys let me know. More Victor Osimhen rumors. This time coming from Fabrizio Romano. So first, Romano today, he did a little sit down with Give Me Sports. He was talking with Ben Jacobs. He was talking with Joe Bea. I like Joe Bea, but when he speaks, he is just another kind of stereotypical Arsenal fan. But it is what it is. But Romano gave a bit of an update regarding personal terms on Osimhen. Now, we talked a little bit. The Osimhen stuff is not going away anytime soon. Leinart says Neymar seems to be back up to speed again. No. Is Neymar? No. Until Carnival comes around again, and then he dips out to hang out with his sister. So Romano claims that Osimhen wants at least to leave Napoli. He wants at least the same wage package that he's currently on at Napoli, and that is around £10 million a year. I think it's like 12 million euros, as Fabrizio Romano says, and that's roughly 200K a week. So we'd have to pay Osimhen roughly 200K a week net for him to join, and that is where I'm still taking all these Osimhen rumors with a grain of salt, because I'm like, we have to cut down the wage bill. He's going to cost a lot. I can't see that working. Like, it's a lot. Romano adds again, like I'm saying, United's budget is the question mark as the fee to get him, because he's got the release clause. We're not paying anybody's release clause. We would pay probably over that and amortize that. But the wages will be high as well. I can't see us prioritizing a lot of that with all the cuts we're making and stuff. And given with Casemiro wanting to stick around till his contract is up, I mean, that's a lot too. We still got Shaw, Mount. That's a lot. Again, Gyökeres and Jonathan David are right there, and they're both cheaper than that. David will be free in the summer. Gyökeres is not even on 50K a week at Sporting. Like this. There's other options. I just think we need to do better. We can't, like Kieran Maguire said last week with the United View, you got to spend smarter, not bigger. We have to start being more smart with the way we're spending money. Linar says they can't afford that. I mean, it's hard to say. Can we? But we'll probably limit the rest of our spending in the summer. So we can. I just don't think we should personally. But it's not my money, so. Danny says, West Ham seem to be adjusting to a back five fairly quick, not like our melters. Yeah, I mean, it could. Maybe that has to do with Graham Potter coming in with a little bit of a new manager bounce. Who knows? But West Ham, you still see them kind of playing a little bit of that counterattack as well. Oh, I mean, Wan-Bissaka, I've already seen the revisionism with Wan-Bissaka as well, because we all know he could be decent with the ball at his feet. It's just that final product that's not always doing a good job. But I think he did grab a goal for them or something. Danny says Wan-Bissaka was one of them clowns that thought Dallo was better. I think they're better at different things, and Dallo definitely looked. I don't want to say he flattered to deceive, because we can't argue with his performances. Again, with Dallo, it was the same as Rashford. Like, Rashford had that amazing season, but at the same time, even amidst that amazing season, Rashford was still making the same poor decisions, whether it was trying to take on the world with a dribble, just decision making, running out of space. Like, it's just that, pulling out of challenges. He was still doing all that, but everybody was happy to move on because he was scoring goals. And so it is what it is. Composed View says, I honestly don't like Osimhen's play style. He seems clunky. Rather try to go for Gonçalo Gomez if PSG. Oh, Gonçalo Ramos, you mean? If PSG will sell. I think he's the profile we should go for. He is, yeah, I like Gonçalo Ramos when he was at Benfica. The problem is, and you guys know this now, I'm not saying it's a problem, but I'm not disagreeing on, because I like Ramos. He struggled a little bit at PSG. He is a little bit more of a poacher. He is remind me a little bit more of a traditional number 9, and we just don't. We need someone who can run. We need someone like an Isak, someone like a Gyökeres. Honestly, someone like Højlund is supposed to be, like who I think Højlund is. He's struggling so much right now. Someone who can do that a little bit. That's why I like Jonathan David. He drops deep a lot. He's really good at link-up plays, really good on the run. And if you look at his numbers are stellar. Gyökeres, again, he's already played that system. He's played it well. He's one of the best strikers in the world right now. It just makes more sense to me. But I do like Gonçalo Ramos. Again, you guys know I filter it through the system that we play when it comes to new signings. If they don't fit the system, I find it a struggle. Like, I just do. But no, yeah, Gonçalo Ramos was very good. I think he's just been struggling a little bit at PSG. Lionheart says, Wan-Bissaka, best tackler United have had in a long time. He was, man. That first season, he was a revelation. I never, like that first season under Ollie, I never feared anybody coming down our right-hand side. He had Sterling. Sterling goes to bed and checks underneath his bed for Wan-Bissaka in that season. And Sterling was petrified of Wan-Bissaka in those early derbies. He was just so good. But then the problem with Wan-Bissaka, he fell asleep at the back post. And if you got past him, he would probably concede a foul. He conceded a few pens last season, if you guys remember that. And it wasn't pretty. Danny says, now Wan-Bissaka better than everything Dallas does. I was wrong. Watched him a few times this season. Yeah, he's having a good season. Again, sometimes, and I think, again, this is where some of the revisionism comes in. People look at players like Antony or like Rashford the other day and like, see, and I'm like, yeah, part of it is United is a problem, but at the same time, part of it is probably too that getting out of that pressure, getting out of that toxicity. Some people can't hang with the pressure. I think Rashford is a little burnt out. I think Onana is crumbling a little bit under the pressure. Antony, I don't think Antony's suited for the Premier League, same as Sancho. And Wan-Bissaka, we overpaid for Wan-Bissaka, and he was a little bit one-dimensional at times, but he was such a good player for us in terms of just locking down that right side at times, man. Composed View says Wan-Bissaka wasn't progressing to fall forward. He could be a bit suspect. He would go on these random runs sometimes where for some reason he was able to just beat like three opposition players and get the ball into the final third. But then most often than not, the only other thing he was decent at was just making those tackles, right? So, but he's doing really well at West Ham. He's doing that for West Ham. He's progressing the ball. And maybe that's just him remembering his winger days. Maybe it's new manager bounce. Maybe it's just West Ham is a better fit. Sometimes that's just the case. Sometimes the players around you, the system is just better fit. Doesn't mean anything's worse or anything. Sometimes it's a better fit. Banamex says, the thing I didn't like about Wan-Bissaka was he was always going to ground. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with it if he's winning the tackles, but like you're saying, I think, you kind of take yourself out of the game sometimes if you're going to ground and you're not making those tackles. We saw Antony do it all the time. Bruno did it a couple times yesterday. He would just go sliding in. Casemiro does the same thing. And you're either going to win the ball and the player, you're going to only get the player, or you're just going to not get anything and you're going to go sliding for days. Patrick says, Sean, why do you think Højlund is struggling so much right now? Oh, so many reasons. like Amorim was saying the other day, part of it is we don't create enough for him. Part of it is he's young and needs developing, and maybe part of it is we're playing a very different system than he used to. Part of it is that maybe he's just not good enough. I couldn't tell. I wish I had one answer. Maybe it's a combination of everything. I don't think we find him enough. Remember, we pulled up that pass map from one match where we didn't pass to him at all, and I didn't think we played to his strengths under Amorim for the first several months. He's playing it long and asking a 21-year-old to hold up the ball, like when you're being bullied by two like older physical Premier League defenders, is just asking for trouble. But I also said he needs to work on those aspects of his game. The problem is you can't just throw a 21-year-old into Manchester United starting 11 week in, week out and just ask him to do things that he's never had to do ever, because at Atalanta, he didn't play at that. Højlund is a unit. I get it. But Højlund is a Jamie Vardy. He is not an Olivier Giroud. He is not one of those players, those strikers, who's just going to hold it and it's going to stick to him like glue. He should probably work on that. But it's just we didn't help him, I guess, is the best way to put that. But again, he's got a part to play in this too. I think that he needs to hire a personal striker coach to work with him a little bit. And you've seen that when we have started playing a little bit more counterattacking, he is getting a little bit more involved. But Højlund is like Rashford. He needs a little space to run. That's just what he needs. So, and we can't argue with what he did last year either. Last year, he was our top scorer, one of the best conversion rates ever. He was still like one of the top scorers in the group stage of the Champions League. Like, he's not bad. Whether he's going to be class or even great, no one knows. But if he doesn't start working on the basics, if he doesn't start kind of getting out of his own head when he's going on a goalless run, when he's making mistakes, when he's not getting the ball, it's going to be like Onana, where the mental stuff is just going to snowball. And then, like Danny says, it is pressure. Pressure, honestly, that Højlund should have never had on his shoulders. He was 20 when we bought him. He shouldn't be playing as our main striker. That was never the plan. He wasn't supposed to be that at Atalanta. He was bought as a young teenager. He had to start because Zapata got injured, and then Zapata struggled, and so they were like, well, we have to play Højlund. Højlund shouldn't be starting. When was the last time United relied on a 21-year-old to lead the line week in, week out? Like, to me, that's a bit unrealistic. You wouldn't ask Kobbie Mainoo to be a world beater in midfield, and he's younger. Like, it's just part of it. So I wish I had a single answer. I just don't. I think it's a combination of a lot of little things that it's just like at United right now. A lot of the reasons for a lot of the way shit's going is a lot of different things. It's not just one thing, but that's life, right? Life, is a lot of little things, not just usually one big thing. Composed View says Gonçalo Ramos would work in this system, in my opinion, because his awareness of space in the box is very good. We have to get the ball to the box, though, and that's the issue. We're not getting the ball high enough, and I've seen Amorim talk about this. I was watching, and I've talked about it many times. AJ Analysis was talking about this a little bit this morning, too. We have to get the ball up the pitch, and that's where we struggle. I think that's why Amorim is pushing hard for Giovanni Quenda as well. It's why we got Dorgu. We need to get the ball. We struggle to build out from the back because we don't have the players for it, and we shit ourselves against the press. We have to get the ball out of our own half. We just don't do that very often. We've been doing it a little better, but we only did it because of long balls. We need to be able to carry the ball. He says also we'll have the 10s on both sides to progress the ball. He drops deep and has a long-range shot. Yeah, I like Gonçalo Ramos. I struggle to see that a single striker is going to make a difference, and I struggle to just think that he's going to be the answer. Like, I like him. I'd be willing to take a chance. He hasn't pulled up any trees since his move, though. I just think there are other options that I would prefer. But Patrick says, yeah, but I mean, at least he scored some. He did score goals last season, Højlund. He was very good. I think people are very quick to forget that. And that was when he was even younger. Højlund had as many, or just like one or two fewer goal involvements in his first season as like a 19, 20, 21-year-old as Cavani did in his first season, as Ronaldo did in his first season with us. Our strikers at United have this first season flash, and then everything kind of goes to shit the second season. It happened with Cavani, happened with Ronaldo, it's happening with Højlund. So I don't know if it's just regressing to the mean, if it's just the shitstorm that is going on right now at United that's kind of infecting him as well. Couldn't tell you. Leonard says, did we buy Højlund too early? Well, Højlund he wasn't meant to be the main guy. He was meant to, and I still don't think he should be the main guy. This is why I would give him time. If we get someone who's more experienced and rotate Højlund, let him kind of come in, get 20, 30 minutes here and there, and let him start in some cups or some dead rubbers or against when the other striker needs a rest or something. That's how we should be doing with Højlund. We did pay a little too much for him. I think initially we went in and we didn't want to pay more than 60 million, but we ended up paying like 64, possibly going up to 72 with add-ons. Everybody likes to quote the add-ons. We're only going to pay 72 million if we win shit, and then no one's going to care about the add-ons. Manu Tata says Højlund at Bayern would do good, and Kane at United would struggle. Yeah, anybody at United would struggle, as we're seeing. You could put the best striker in the world in this team, and we're not going to find him. We're not going to get him the ball. We need ball progressors. Dan says, yes, now, while United Wan-Bissaka really progressed the ball. That's like saying Anthony, while playing well for Real Betis, shouldn't be sold. Yeah. Anthony's found his level. Real Betis is where he needs to play. Lionheart says, I should have Højlund gone to the under-21s first. Now, Højlund just should have been a second option. When we bought him, we literally had, that was it. He was our striker. That was it. Last year, he was our only striker. That was it. Like, that's a lot to expect and to put on a 21-year-old. It's just not, I don't know what people are expecting. Just because you happen to be our only striker doesn't mean that you're going to play like a 29-year-old. Like, we have to temper our expectations here. Somebody's dropping. I hope it's my new indoor boots, because that would be nice. My indoor boots that I have are about half size too small with these true socks, so I'm hoping these are my new boots. Danny says, I hope our players are watching how West Ham can swap straight to a back three system with ease. This shows how bad our squad is. Yeah, a lot of it is the squad, which always, it cracks me up though too, Danny, because literally, and this is why I always just filter everything I read or I hear or I watch people say on punditry or comment, whatever, through a filter of bullcrap, because these same people have been like we're doing now. They've been slating these players for several years now, but all these same pundits who turn around and say Amorim should be getting more. Like, which is it? Are the players not good enough, or should the manager be getting more? I think it's somewhere in the middle, but you can't have it both ways. Either the players aren't good enough, or the manager should be getting more. It's not like you walked into Liverpool or something and they had Champions League winners, Premier League winners, world-class players. Like, that's not what we walked into. These players can't hang with tactical systems. Let them sit in a low block and let them counterattack. These players will get you to finals. That's just how they play. But when you ask them to slow down, when you ask them to think a little bit, they freak out. And he says, I hear you compose pressure huge at United. It's cursed. Yeah, dude. Better than Dallo. It's not hard. Like I said, play Jade Riviere over Dallo, man. Composer says, I guess it depends on how Amorim decides to build his system, the player profiles, balance, and connection. Osimhen, in my opinion, is more of a poacher than Ramos. However, he has more pace than Ramos. Yeah, and I used to think that too until I watched some more like highlights and stuff, and I see a lot of Osimhen picking up the ball like near the half and actually carrying it and beating it and stuff. And so maybe there's a little bit more strings to his bow than I initially realized. I just didn't watch a lot of Napoli when he was there. And from what I remember from his time at Napoli, a lot of the goals I saw him score were like poacher's goals. But at Galatasaray, it's a little different. But we'll see. Composer says, British pundits aren't the best. Our former players do my head in. I've got time for like Rio and Scholes and Neville when they talk about certain things. But some of like Scholes and Rio's takes on some of these things are they're just poor in my opinion. And it is what it is. We can disagree. I'm not saying they're idiots. I just don't agree with a lot of the stuff that they say, like a lot of dressing room insight and stuff. That I'm here for that, but some of their stuff they say, I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Leinart says we have 5 times CL winner in the squad. Is he in the squad though? Like, does he count as in the squad? I mean, he's come on only because of an injury crisis, and I mean, is he in the squad though? So yeah, we got Osimhen rumors. I still think Gyökeres and Jonathan David would probably be my picks. Just David's on a free. Gyökeres is one of the best strikers in the world at the moment, and they're both on a quarter of the wages. Jonathan David might be a little bit more, but Gyökeres is literally on a quarter of the wages that Osimhen's on. So if we're trying to be smart and still get quality, those two I think are the way to go. But you guys let me know. Again, go check my poll when I start my FC25 career mode. I let you guys vote on striker and central midfielder, and then I'll put together the rest of my squad. So go down that. I'll probably end that this weekend. Sticking with Napoli, so Daniel Longo with Calcio Mercato claims that United could offer Napoli Rasmus Højlund and cash in an effort to cut down on the overall transfer fee for Osimhen. I think it was Højlund and like 33 million was the number being floated around. Even Napoli's director has chimed in on Osimhen's move. He said that the club is trying to find a solution to Osimhen's move as soon as possible to avoid a late transfer in the window. They don't want to wait all summer to get rid of Osimhen, apparently. They want him out of the club so they can do their business. And that's just normal. That's smart. So the sticking point again with United in that is going to be the wages and then the fee, because Osimhen would represent a hefty chunk. And I don't, with so many things we need to do, so much strengthening, I do think that I would not want to prioritize someone who's going to cost a bit more and whose wages are a bit higher. That being said, if Garnacho, like we talked about this morning, if Garnacho wants to keep throwing his toys out of the pram and throw a little temper tantrums, he could be sold for massive money. So maybe we'll see what happens there. Composed View said he's the only CL winner we have. Oh, and Evergreen Johnny. Yeah, don't forget about Johnny. I don't know what happened to Johnny Evans, honestly. Goals for George says Wan-Bissaka is playing as a right wing back and seems flawless at the West Ham. Speaking on Rasmus, he had a poor season in the Premiership last season, but scored more in the Champions League. Rashford's drop off was strange. Didn't Højlund had like 10 goals in the league, and then like five in Champions League, and then like another one in like the FA Cup or something, if I remember correctly. But he had double-digit goals in the league. If somebody wants to correct me on that, so for a young player in his first season in the Premier League at Manchester United, I thought Højlund's season last year was probably better than anyone probably could have expected from him. But it has been a little bit of a drop off. Box, big up, Box. Good to see you, man. We are just having a bit of a chat here on the news. Good to see you, my friend. Matt Hatter, welcome. Why did Napoli want Osimhen out so bad? I think, as far as I remember, there was some sort of agreement that Osimhen could leave if they had a certain offer, and then something happened where maybe Napoli like reneged on that or something, and then I don't remember now. I don't follow Napoli as closely, obviously, as I follow United, but so if someone has the ins and outs of that detail, let me know. But you guys let me know. I'm going to look it up online real quick and see what Google has to say. So according to goal.com, Osimhen's relationship with Napoli completely broken after Napoli, he was supposed to go to the Saudi league for big money, and then they didn't because of like the difference of 5 million euro or something. So maybe that's why. I have no idea. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys let me know, let me know. I just don't follow Napoli as much personally. Box says Aaron Wan-Bissaka not doing that great at West Ham. He looks good right now. He's flying up and down that wing. He's getting involved. Obviously, like I said, they're playing a little bit of a back three, back five, if you want to call it that. So he's kind of getting a little more involved in that right wing back role. And we kind of knew, like, and when he's flying, like on the run, he can do pretty well. It just didn't happen enough personally. So it is what it is. Lionhearts. What's Lionhearts saying here? In my opinion, there's only one center forward who has been able to cope with the pressure in recent years, and that was Ibra, because he was Ibra. I liked Cavani. I thought Cavani was very good for us his first season. The problem with Cavani was Ronaldo. Ronaldo kind of threw a spanner in the works for a lot of things. Taking the 7 off of Cavani obviously doesn't sit right with Cavani. And then how do you get Cavani and Ronaldo? I mean, Cavani started just basically not wanting to play anymore, which is a bummer. But yeah, Ibra, again, though, a lot of people are going to argue that the Ibra deal was up there with the Ogala, up there with the Cavani, up there with the Ronaldo. Like, why are we buying all these 30-plus-year-olds for one season, basically? I liked Ibra. I thought Ibra was great. I always got time for Ibra, but, like, it was a representative of a shit transfer policy back then, which is, again, another contributing factor to where we are. Obviously, he was a free agent, but still, it's hard to balance the love for someone like Ibra with the representation of a piss poor transfer policy that is. Box says Osimhen was very close to a Saudi move. Robert Reed says Osimhen wants 400K. He wants, like, Romano said he's on like 12 million euros. I think it's like 10 million pounds, which is roughly 200K a week, which is interesting. So that's net though, like you're saying. Yeah, gross and net are different. Box says, yeah, Napoli upped the price. Yeah, I think like they upped the price. Apparently, according to the Googles, they upped the price a little bit last minute and completely fell through. So he was not happy about that. So maybe it's not an attitude problem with Osimhen. Maybe it's just the relationship between Osimhen and Napoli was just done at that point because of that failed transfer. I don't know. Box said Saudi chose to get Tony for cheaper. Yeah. Goals for George says, large fan channels going against Bruno makes me uncomfortable, especially when he plays well. I have no problem with criticism when he plays badly, but sometimes it just seems agenda-driven and cruel. Yeah, I think fans in general will do that, and that's one of the things I don't like. I don't want to bash. I'm not going to bash anybody's fan channel, but I do. I guess maybe it's just a little bit of a bias because obviously this is a smaller channel. Maybe with you guys' help, it can get bigger, but I would like fan channels, the same as like media, the same as pundits and ex players. I'd like them to maybe stop for a second and recognize the influence that they do have over a large portion of the fan base. Some of these fan channels have like 2 million subscribers. Like, that's people literally taking everything you say and basically believing it. And if you're not careful with that, it can cause problems. And so I do agree. I don't like when people just they make the, like when Bruno got here and some of these fan channels were starting like a Bruno versus Pogba thing. I was like, the last time I checked, they both wear a United shirt. Why are we doing this? It doesn't make sense. But it is unnecessary. I do think part of it is just content, just to draw views. You guys know I'm not here for drama. I'm not here to do any of that stuff. You guys know I only like to stop by when I've got stuff to talk about. So whether that's matches, whether that's a bunch of transfer news, or just random shit like the other day, talking about Amorim, or what I'm going to do a video on maybe tomorrow, like talking about the Glazers, how the shares work, what are some ways we can maybe expose the New York Stock Exchange connection to get them out of here. We'll talk about that. How is Tony? I honestly don't know because I don't watch the Saudi league and nobody watches the fucking Saudi league. I don't. People go on and on about how many goals Ronaldo's scoring. I'm like, it's the Saudi league, bro. If I went to the park and saw a bunch of 5-year-olds playing and then decided to jump in and just destroy them, that's literally the equivalent. I don't. These are the same people who will criticize MLS, and I'm like, it's the fucking Saudi league. Let's chill out here, please. Come on. Robert Reed says 300K a week. Napoli posted bad stuff about him. Well, see, there you go. I think it sounds like one of those things where both parties thought they were right. Both parties was a little butthurt. Both parties are trying to save face, and so now they're going at each other a little bit. But it does sound like that relationship's broken down. I don't want to spend that. I mean, the wages are going to kill us if we go for Osimhen. It's not as much as what Casemiro, Rashford, or Bruno are on, but still, it's big. It goes against the policy of what we're trying to do. We're trying to get some younger, hungrier players who are on their first or second contract and stuff. Players who will play for the badge and not just chill because they're getting paid. They're making that bank. Compose research for goalkeeper. What about Lucas Chevalier? I know more about him. He's the goalkeeper at Lille. Yeah, I listed a few earlier when we were talking about this new keeper. Chevalier is on my list as well. Chevalier, Joan Garcia has always been on my list. Aguirre Sabala at Bilbao. Elia Capriel, and then Marcin Bulka at Nice are all on my list. So a lot of good keepers out there. I like Chevalier a lot. He had a really good season last year. Lionel says Ronaldo ruined a lot of things when he came back, and I don't blame Ronaldo for the impact that it had. I do blame him for the way it ended. That was completely on him. But Compose View says Cavani felt betrayed because his shirt was given to CR7. According to rumors, well, we always knew that was going to happen. I would speak into some like a message, like forums online, and when we were linked with Ronaldo for a second, and I'm like, he's going to get the 7 shirt, and people were like, why is that a big deal? I'm like, his logo is literally CR7. He's going to get the 7 shirt. I'm not saying I care about it. I'm just saying this is what's going to happen. You can't bring Ronaldo back and not give him the 7 shirt. That's just, and I get it. Cavani's upset about it. Martial was upset when he lost his 9 shirt. I get it. It happens. But I just wish players would get over that stuff a little bit more and just play. People will remember you more for scoring goals than for whether or not you're wearing a 7 or a 21. Box says, I'd have Bruno as the best signing post-Fergie, then Ibra. Yeah, I mean, you can't not have Bruno up there as the best signing post-Fergie. I challenge anyone to give me another name. Like, I'll wait. I'll stay here for the next 3 hours if someone wants to do that. Leonard says, didn't we get Zlatan on a boss? Yeah, we got him for free. I think he was, how old was he when we got him? Like 35, 30? I don't remember. He's in his mid-30s. Probably younger than I am now, which probably feels a little old. Goal says, Osimhen signed an extension in Napoli that put him in with a horrible exit clause, even though the owner gave him assurances he could leave for a lower fee. Naive from Osimhen. Lookman has learned. Yeah. I thought I remembered something about that. Like they had some sort of handshake agreement and then somebody went back on it, but it's interesting. Box says, yep, a lot of Pogba FC have never warmed to Bruno. Yeah. I just never got that whole argument. Why we had to do that? Why couldn't it just be they're both playing for us? Like, let's enjoy it. Like, it's so weird to me. Leonard says, and to be fair, Pogba did do some magical stuff. United, he did. So he had some moments, but the guy he missed 107 matches through injury, hamstring, ankles. Like, he was a constant headache whenever he went on France duty. And we talked about this the other day when he was linked to us again. He doesn't suit the system that we play now. He was a liability in our third. He wanted too much time in the ball. He was constantly losing the ball. He's a red carpet when the opposition is on the counterattack. He can't defend to save his life. Like, it's not personal. It's just Pogba had a good role when we played counterattacking football. We just don't play that way anymore. So I don't see how he fits in this side personally. Robert T says, this community is great. Robert, you hit it on the head. This community is great. There isn't a word big enough in language to describe how great this community is. I wish there was, but this community is awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. This is all you. This is your channel, you guys. I'm happy to sit and chill and talk, man. This is awesome. Matt Hatter says, the Saudi League is now being covered by Fox Sports in my region. Awesome. Of course it is. This is like, remember the Saudi, the Saudi, what is it, the investment fund or something, the PIF or something? Didn't they buy like golf or something? Don't they try and do something with boxing too? It's sports washing. And this is why I'm not, like, I don't want to get too political. When it comes to United ownership, and this was probably the biggest reason why I wasn't for the Qatar thing. It wasn't a racism thing. It wasn't like oil money or whatever. It was just, I don't want United to be involved in some sort of geopolitical issue. And whether that was going on or not, it was just, I don't want to even be connected to that from an optics standpoint. Like, I'm not saying Sir Jim was the best. I don't like having to choose between the lesser of two evils for anything. So it just is what it is. But we're going to talk a little bit about that because there's a chance that Sir Jim could be forced out in about 6 months or so. But Robert, he's totally agreed. Yep. Box says, I like Ronaldo to get 1,000 goals. He's on 925. If Ronaldo goes from 925 to 1,000 when he's 40 years old, I mean, that's insane. Like, you got to respect the record. And what I do respect about Ronaldo is, has he scored more goals since turning 30, since before he turned 30? Like, that I respect because he was still doing it at Madrid. He was still doing it at Juve. He did it for United. Like, he was the top scorer in the second half of the season in the Premier League when he was here. But yeah, it's insane. Like, I can't fault. I mean, he's to me, he is a legend. The way he ended it a couple of years ago was just not okay, in my opinion. Goal says, Lookman refusing to sign an extension at Atalanta, which could lock him into a high sales clause, caused tension between Gasperini and Lookman, and he has learnt from Osimhen and can leave for 25 to 40 million. Well, a lot of you don't like Lookman. We did that poll the other day when those rumors first came out, and you guys were not having it. So I'll let you guys figure that out. Robert Reed says, Delap looked great versus us. I'm gonna respectfully disagree. I didn't think Delap was looking out. He was the same struggles that Delap was having against Maguire, the same struggles that Højlund has every week against defenders. Maguire had him locked up. Delap was getting frustrated, and he started throwing elbows and shit, which I'm here for the shit house shit, but at the same time, like, he's young, and he's get it. I mean, obviously he wasn't really getting involved as much, but he had his moments. I like the way he plays. He tends to, when he's got that space, he's really good at kind of keeping people off him, but I don't know if I'd use the word great. I wouldn't use the word like awful, but I don't know if I'd use the word great. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. And Box says, Delap stepping up to Ugarte yesterday reminded me of Vardy-esque. Yeah, he stepped up and then he got immediately sat back down when when Mezraoui came in and Xerxes came in. Xerxes was standing over him ready to drop bombs, bro. And I'm here for it, man. Ugarte wasn't having Ugarte got right back up and gave it back to him, man. That game was fiery. Lionheart says number 7 shirt has lost its magic now. Depay, Di Maria, Owen, Mount. It's a shame. Yeah, we haven't seen it in like a year. Honestly, when we get rid of Mount, I just don't give it to anybody and let somebody earn it. I know Sancho was probably butthurt he didn't get it, but let somebody earn it at this point. And maybe that's another thing. Maybe we put too much on stuff like that at United. We talk about the pressure of playing for United. Maybe that 7 shirt. I mean, Valencia gave up the 7 shirt because of that stature. I'm not saying I don't respect the 7 shirt. I'm just like, that's a lot. Rasta, big up, man. Yesterday, happy we got 3 points, but our goalkeeper, I am done with that scrub. Yeah, we talked about that a lot yesterday. Go back and watch that video if you haven't yet. No, that was this morning. Sorry, the match reaction. We talked a little bit about it today because we were linked with a new keeper today. So, yeah, I'm done. I've been done with Onana for a few weeks now. Like I said, I was there at Old Trafford for that Brighton match with that freaking mistake he made. We've seen him make. I was there for Galatasaray last year when he fucked up and we gave away that pen because of Casemiro and Onana just messing that up. It was not good. Box says Saudis introduced Live Golf Breakaway Group and are the major player in boxing now, doing UFC, tennis. Yeah, that's insane to me that they're doing all this stuff. I mean, again, I don't get too involved in the political stuff just because I'm not that knowledgeable on it. That would take a lot of time for me to do all the research and to cross-reference all these websites because you never know what kind of bias websites and stuff are giving you. So, and I am the kind of person who, if I read it from one website, I'm going to read it at like 4 or 5 different others to get a good, healthy context. And I just don't have that kind of time. I was his best signing since Fergie. Morgan Schneiderlin. Look at that. Blast from the past. My wife loved that guy simply just because she likes saying his name. She'd always say it wrong. And it was the most hilarious thing ever. I would be playing FIFA and like they would call out his name and she'd be like, Schnagglebutts, Schnagglebiff. And I'd be like, woman, what are you doing? Sit over there. CR7 is the GOAT. I have nothing but respect for Ronaldo. There's a little bit of a stain on his United legacy for the way he ended things. But, yeah, anytime you run and talk to Piers Morgan on international duty instead of talking to your manager, I've got a problem with that. So, and you saw how Bruno was kind of ghosting him a bit in that Portugal dressing room. Composed View said, Delap looked great. Which game? I strongly disagree. Yeah, and you all can disagree, get involved in that. I didn't think he looked great. I was excited to watch him and Maguire's battle. It was really getting in there, and obviously tempers were flaring, but I didn't think he had a great. He didn't do anything. Maguire had him in a spliff all night. Lionheart says, Ronaldo showed his true colors and do it on Piers. Yeah, I wasn't happy about that. Piers Morgan is so happy about that. He's probably still wiping his chin after that interview, the fucking prick. Sorry, I don't like Piers Morgan. Rasta Stocks, that is a type of fighting I like to see from our players. You mess with one of us, you get it. Reminds me of Roy Keane. Yeah, this is the mentality we go for, man. That's why this channel is called what it is. It's United versus everybody. You rock up at Old Trafford, you take on everybody. Fans, manager, players, the rats, all of it. Take on all of it. Boxes, I agree. Time to rest these squad numbers. We need to get out of our house in order first. Robert says, yeah, but his goal meant whose goal? Leonard says Schnagglebiff. I'm not even lying. Like, it's not a word of a lie. This is the shit that happens at my house, man. She calls Van de Beek Van Eaton because I think she misheard him. It said or something, or she thought it was something else. So this is. I thought about maybe I could do this in the future because my wife knows literally like less than nothing about football, which is fine. But I thought about doing a stream once where I have her on and I just kind of like I try to teach her like how football works, teach her about offside, teach her about these different things. So if that's something you guys would find entertaining, let me know. But Goalkeeper says John Duran is a young striker that has everything and looks like a player that will thrive in any team due to his skill set. He's the reason why I lost patience with Rasmus as he was 20 years. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's hard not to because this is just how life works. We do compare, but we have to remember that strikers develop at different rates. I'm not saying every striker who starts off slow is going to be a Gyökeres by the time they're 26, because Gyökeres nobody can tell me where he was playing when he was Højlund's age, for instance. Jamie Vardy as well. Harry Kane was on loan at Leicester when he was 21 or something. Not every player is going to turn to that, but I don't want us to forget what Højlund did last year. And again, who's to say that John Duran isn't doing what Højlund did his first season? Because John Duran was in the MLS a few seasons ago, and then he was talked about being sold, and Chelsea were going to buy him for a couple million. So again, I try not to get overhyped too soon, but he is having a good season. I'm a little disappointed that he went to the Saudi League at his age, but he's still young enough where he can go over there a couple years and make money and then come back and go anywhere he wants. But we'll see what happens. Boxes, I think Duran excelled as a super sub at Villa, but when he started instead of Watkins, he was less effective. Yeah, and I think that's the role that Højlund should have been playing, and I think that's the difference. We put too much pressure on Højlund so soon. Robert Reed says, Delap's goal. Delap didn't score yesterday, though, Robert Reed. Those are 2 goals from Philogene yesterday. Philogene had a brace. So, yeah, Delap did not score yesterday. Closing a little bit of trivia. I read on United's website that the match yesterday was the first time 2 United center backs have scored in the same game in the Premier League. Now, it's happened in other competitions, as United pointed out, in Europe and in domestic cups, but it has not happened in the Premier League since the first division became the Premier League in '92. But again, we all know that football only started when Sky bought it, so that's how it rolls, right? Rasta says, I want us to lift the trophy again this season. I hope we could do the double-double. No Dorgu this weekend against Fulham is going to be a big ask. I'm not confident that we're going to advance past Fulham. They're exactly the kind of team that tends to give us a lot of problems. But anything can happen. I'm not confident against Sociedad either. We tend to struggle against Spanish sides, and it was not the best draw for us. But we have no choice. That's our only hope of getting into Champions League right now is the Europa League, but I just can't see it. Box says, them Ipswich goals were crazy. Yeah. Remember, was it Hutchinson who scored against us earlier this season in Amorim's first match? It caught a little bit of a deflection, Hutchinson's goal, but Composed View says, John Duran is also in a thriving environment, and there's no pressure on him to perform. Yeah, there's literal no pressure whatsoever to perform in the Saudi League. Because no one watches it. No one cares. I would rather go watch USL than watch the Saudi League, and I'm not trying to diss USL, but Box says, easiest brace you'll ever score. Yeah, that first goal was an absolute gift, and I have no idea how that second goal just made it all the way in. We talked about that this morning. Onana got blood on his hands from these yesterday. Ghost George says, Onana will be remembered with memes the way he's going after starting the season well. Like I said, I'm done with Onana. If we can get any bit of money for him this weekend, this summer, take it, start VTech, start buying deer, and then maybe think about a goalkeeper in a year. But it's insane. No, you're good, bro. It's all good. And yet, Delap's having a good season. He's probably Ipswich's best player. He was handled by Maguire yesterday. They had a good fight, but Maguire came out the better of that one. So Lionheart says, do they fill stadiums in Saudi? I honestly don't know. Like I said, I could not care less about the Saudi League, if I'm honest. I was just disappointed in so many players who went there so early. Like I always forget the kid's name, the little Spanish midfielder, like Javi Guerra or something. Ruben Neves was one that really bummed me out. I thought Ruben Neves would have been perfect for United. He would have been exactly what we need. Hayden Hackney reminds me a lot of Ruben Neves, so that's why I like Hackney a lot. But Composed View says that Dorgo red is a blow. Arsenal, Fulham, and Leicester, I think, too, is the other one. So yeah, it is a blow. It sucks. I still don't I'm not 100% convinced it was a red, so it is what it is, but it's just, we can't, we could try to appeal it, but I doubt we'll win. So Box says, from 15th to 18th, there's a 16-point gap, but from 3rd to 15th, there's a 15-point gap. Yeah. If this were like October, I would be like, see, there's still some behind, but it's too late now. We left it a little too late, but that is the story of our season, whether it's this or the match, but it is what it is. That's going to do it for me today. Not a ton of news, but it's really good conversation, really good to get chat. And hey, big up Patrick UTD for the channel's very first super chat live. You get an absolute legend, man. And I gifted those 5 memberships live as a big thank you. You guys, all of you are legends. You guys make this channel what it is. I got to decide if I'm going to try to play tonight. The game's at 10, and my old ass is usually asleep by then, so I might have to go make some coffee. But should I play tonight? Should I try to? If my new boots are here, that might be the deciding factor. If my new boots are here, I might just suck it up and go break them in. They're not new. I got them on eBay, but they've only been worn like twice. But if they're here, I might decide to try to stay up late, but it's going to be a big one. Robert Reese says back at my Pittsburgh Riverhounds in USL. Yeah, I got time for the USL. Detroit City FC is in the USL, and they're about half hour from me. I have a old friend who lives a block from that stadium, so Lionel says, "Yeah, go play. Don't be a lazy sod." It's not lazy. I'm just old, man. I wake up at 5 every day to get these dogs squared away and get my coffee going and start working on these videos. And then by the time like 9:30 rolls around, I'm usually up reading or something. So we'll see. It's gonna depend on my boots getting here, and it might depend on if they need me because I'm just like a sub. I'm not part of the core team. I'm just like, oh, if there's people who can't make it, let me know and I'll show up and fill in like I did last week. But it is what it is. I'm just older now. When I used to play more regularly, it was like 10 years ago. I just don't play. Like I'm 39 now, so it's rough. But we'll see. I'll let you guys know what that looks like. Thank you guys for stopping by. I really appreciate the conversation. Really good chat today. Please hit that like button before me on your way out. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on the road to 3K, and check out the memberships if you want to learn how you can get more involved. Scouting report suggestions, topics for videos, and even option in there to jump in virtually and get involved in the chat. So Leonard says, take a flask of coffee with you and a toasty blanket. Yeah, it's co-ed indoor, so I make it sound like it's a lot serious. It's co-ed indoor, which isn't like not trying to disrespect, but it's like it's not super serious. And most people who are playing don't really play, so it is what it is. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Patrick. Everybody, big up Patrick again, man. Absolute legend. He is the reason that 5 of those memberships got gifted. Thank you, Patrick, for your super chat, man. I really appreciate it. You guys take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you guys on the next one. All right. Later.